A further 2 men have been charged with terrorist murder in connection with the deadly Brussels attacks. They're suspected of links with the rental of a property thought to have been used as a safe house ahead of last month's bombings, in which 32 people were killed. Prosecutors have identified them only as Smail F., born in 1984, and Ibrahim F., born in 1988. 4 other suspects were picked up on Friday, including Mohamed Abrini, who investigators say has confessed to leaving a bomb at Brussels airport. Police raided the suspected safe house in the Brussels district of Etterbeek on Saturday.
Fighting has continued in Syria on the eve of the first parliamentary elections in 4 years. This footage purports to show government airstrikes hitting rebel-held areas in Homs province. Activists say barrel bombs were used in Talbisay. 2 people were reported to have been killed and many injured. The self-proclaimed Islamic State has retaken a strategically important town near the Turkish border on the supply route to its territory in Aleppo province. An eruption of fighting in the region in the last fortnight marks the most serious challenge to a truce brokered by the US and Russia. UN envoy Staffan de Mistura, visiting Damascus, has been told by the Syrian government that Turkey and Saudi Arabia have been ordering insurgents to stage attacks aimed at foiling planned Geneva talks. Wednesday's planned elections have been criticized as a sham by the international community and the opposition. But some in Damascus resent what they see as outside interference. Who should decide, them or us, he says. How can someone sitting in a 5-star hotel come and take power? All candidates in the election are said to be pro-government, and the votes being held only in state-held areas, not in those controlled by rebels or ISIL. But the head of the election committee says people displaced from some of the worst war-torn areas, such as Aleppo and Deir al-Zur, will be able to vote in polling centres set up elsewhere in the country. Video from the UN's World Food Programme shows relief supplies being dropped on Deir al-Zur, the first such aid for over 2 years to reach the city, which is besieged by ISIL. A Turkish soldier has been killed and dozens injured in a car bomb in Diyarbakir province in the southeast of the country. 39 soldiers and 8 civilians were hurt in the explosion in the town of Hani. The military said a vehicle filled with explosives rammed into a police station. The southeast has been rocked by violence since a ceasefire between the Turkish government and the outlawed Kurdish militant group the PKK collapsed last year. Residential areas in Cizre and other towns have been destroyed in anti-terror operations carried out by Turkish forces. This girl's 13-year-old brother was killed in Diyarbakir. Her mother says, I asked her, why are you crying? She said, Mum, I miss my brother so much. I want him to come back. I said, your brother can't come. He's in paradise. I said, I also miss him. The boy, Chihat, was unable to escape the district before the military offensive. His parents, who said he wanted to go to law school, heard about their son's death on television. Because of the curfew, they've not been able to collect his body.
A Brazilian congressional committee has decided that there are grounds to impeach embattled President Dilma Rousseff. Amid chaotic scenes, the 65-member committee voted by 38 to 27 to move the process forward to a crucial vote this weekend in the full lower house of Congress. Rousseff is facing accusations that she manipulated government accounts to hide a growing deficit to boost her re-election prospects in 2014. The battle over her impeachment has polarized the nation. Her predecessor, facing his own graft investigation, the former Brazilian President Lula da Silva, led a big support rally in Rio de Janeiro. He said, I never imagined that at 70 years of age I would see people orchestrating a coup to remove a president democratically elected by popular vote. Rousseff has denied any wrongdoing and is rallying the rank and file of her Workers' Party. But caught in a political storm fueled by Brazil's worst recession in decades and biggest ever corruption scandal, Rousseff has lost key coalition allies in Congress. And it hasn't helped. The Vice President, Michel Temer, released an audio tape by mistake that showed him preparing to take over should she be forced out, with him calling for a government of national unity.
EU regulators are mulling new rules on tax avoidance by major multinationals amid the fallout from the Panama Papers. Proposed legislation will be unveiled on Tuesday that will call on firms to publish tax information related to activities across the EU. And the FT reports activities outside Europe will also be included. If transparency is not done directly, that if it's believed that there's something to hide, then it will be done differently and in another state of mind. I want transparency which is done simply because everyone has rules to share. Everyone puts things on the table.
D'être dénoncé.
However, tax avoidance, unlike tax evasion, is completely legal. The Commission's proposal follows the LuxLeaks scandal at the end of 2014. It needs the approval of the European Parliament and EU governments before it can become law.
Former CIA operative Sabrina de Souza has lost her appeal in Portugal's Supreme Court against extradition to Italy to serve a 6-year sentence for her part in an extraordinary rendition programme. De Souza was arrested at Lisbon Airport in 2003 kidnapping of an Egyptian cleric in Milan when she was working in Italy under diplomatic cover. Abu Omar had been given political asylum in Italy but fell under suspicion by the US for his links to fundamentalist networks and of having allegedly connections to al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. Omar was eventually released in April 2004. The Italian courts are also investigating whether his unlawful kidnapping was with the help of senior members of the Italian Secret Service. Amateur video of a citizen's arrest of 3 illegal migrants near Bulgaria's border with Turkey has sparked controversy, with rights groups expressing concern. The 3 men are seen with their hands tied and being told to leave Bulgaria. The government says it's seeking ways to channel citizens' actions into helping police lawfully. Thousands of German steelworkers have held nationwide protests against the influx of cheap Chinese imports and the uncertainty over the future of ThyssenKrupp Steelworks. A possible merger with India's Tata Steel has caused alarm, with Tata currently selling its steel business in Britain, endangering thousands of jobs. Chile's government has temporarily banned the consumption of sardines in the south of the country after millions of dead fish turned up floating along the shores of the Cailo River. At the weekend, the authorities began clearing the shorelines. Experts are still investigating the cause of death and any possible risk to human health.